So, I just got finished crying semi-hysterically for 6 hours straight as I binged watched The Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life on Netflix. Wow, just wow is all I can really say about it. I binged the original series earlier last year and it hit a severe chord with me, partly because I was Rory's exact same age when the show aired, and partly because I was roughly Lorelai's age when I actually watched the show. So both the mother and daughter storylines were way too relatable for me. And when the show ended, or rather when I ran out of episodes, I guess, I really had gotten too emotionally invested in the characters, and I felt such a loss after the finale. Like I had just lost access to a huge part of my family. I don't know if there's a syndrome for that kind of crazy, but if there is, I think I have it. After I finished my Black Friday shopping today, I ran straight to my bedroom, locked the door, and ended up watching all 4 episodes of A Year in the Life. I sincerely hope that the last 4 words, which I won't spoil, is a sign that a sequel will be happening. Fingers crossed it will be sooner rather than later because I don't want to have another 9-year gap in between seeing these characters again. But I feel that this update to the Gilmore Girls was very well handled. And it was set up in a way that made you feel like you didn't really miss much by being away from Stars Hollow for 9 years. I mean, I felt perfectly updated when I saw the new sign in Luke's diner. Yes, in love immediately. Not to mention, the detail of every location I saw looked so spot on and perfect to me. My only complaint is that so many characters only got brief cameos when I wanted to sit down and have coffee with them all. Can we do that, Netflix? Can we have another season where Lorelai and Rory just sit around at the diner and chit-chat with the different characters one-on-one? I would totally binge watch that for 6 or more hours. Okay, I'm throwing down a major spoilers warning from here on out, so if you do not want to know anything about A Year in the Life, click away quickly. Now, the absence of Richard Gilmore is a huge impact to the show, but I think that his passing on gave the entire new season a reason to happen. With Richard still in the picture, things would have been very much same old, but instead we got to see Emily take a real, powerful, emotional journey. Richard's death was a reason for her life to be shaken up, and I realized that Emily was in a very bad state of mind when I realized that she had had the same housekeeper for more than a day. Richard Gilmore's death, which takes place shortly before the new episodes or movies, however you want to classify them, begin, it also starts this ripple effect of Lorelai having to deal with these serious, heavy issues regarding anxiety about change. And as far as Lorelai's life since the wrap of the series in 2007, she and Luke have been living together, but for some reason have never moved an inch forward beyond that. Not sure why, but there's no children, no marriage, not even a new house. I guess maybe that's for the benefit of the viewers so that we didn't feel like we missed anything big. And so, while I do not want to spoil the ride of the new season, it does leave me with quite a few unanswered questions, like if Michelle is really going to leave the Dragonfly Inn, if Rory's book will get published, or if Jess still has romantic interest in Rory. And like I said before, with the last 4 words, it really makes me hopeful for a sequel to come. And actually, let me hit pause for a second and say that I am disappointed that Jess, Dean, and Logan all look basically the same way they did when Rory first met them. I mean, it goes right down to the same attitudes and pretty much the same hairstyles. So I suppose that no one outside of the Gilmore household actually experienced any significant growth in their lives. Honestly, as a semi-successful publisher, I would think Jess would be less grungy bad boy and a little more 3-piece suit by now, or at least somewhere in between. A nice haircut, maybe? Okay, I am biased because I have always been a strong team Logan. To me, Logan was the one always trying to help Rory be the best Rory she could be. I felt like Dean tried to make Rory fit into his perception of what she should be, and there were a few times where Dean came off as emotionally abusive if Rory didn't respond or react the way he wanted her to. Plus, I felt when Dean and Rory had their affair, he suddenly decided that he wasn't part of Rory's world out of the blue and just took off on her. It just seemed like the script wanted him gone, so he was gone. But overall, I just wasn't into his manipulative games. And Jess, to me, was just going to drag Rory into his garbage nonstop. He was never going to get it together, and she was always going to be too good for that in the long term. But Logan was always there to clear the path for whatever Rory wanted to do, even though their breakup was very abrupt and uncalled for. I mean, if someone says they're not ready for marriage and you love them, maybe just try to wait a little while longer. I mean, it was just poof and gone. It seemed like Logan and Rory broke up for the sake of the writers wanting to force Rory to start adulthood solo. Okay, that got way off track, but I would like to analyze Rory's position in life during A Year in the Life. At one point, A Year in the Life seemed like it was sympathetic to the idea that young, college-educated adults went into the real world and got chewed up and spit out due to the pathetic job market in America. Gotta say, as someone who is Rory's actual age, I can definitely relate to that. But then the series introduces the 30-something gang, which is a group of people Rory's age who are unemployed and living at home, and these kids are fairly obnoxious millennials. And it really seems like the rest of the town and the show seems to mock the plight of an entire generation. Sure, there can definitely be a lot of humor in that kind of a situation, but A Year in the Life can't quite decide if they are empathizing with these people or if they're just there to openly make fun of them. But having said that, I thought that the series took an interesting take on the issue by what they had Rory do. To summarize, since Rory graduated from college, she has been bouncing around doing freelance article writing, which means she has no solid employer or income. And ultimately, Rory ends up broke and unable to find anybody who wants to hire her. Rory even tries interviewing for an editor position with a website that is begging to get a hold of her, and then lo and behold, the CEO of that website was very apparently younger than Rory. And Rory didn't end up getting that job, but as luck would have it, Rory did end up taking over as editor of the Stars Hollow Gazette. And after Jess encouraged her, Rory also began writing a book about her life, which started with her mom, Lorelai, as a pregnant teenager. Now, I thought that this was a very thought-provoking direction to take. Our generation has had a very difficult time getting our careers to go anywhere, and I thought it was interesting that the website owner looked a lot younger than Rory, because many people my age very often do get to see that the generation behind them is doing much better than ourselves. And I very much appreciate that being somewhat acknowledged in A Year in the Life. People often forget that there are those of us out there who do work really hard and did everything right, and we still failed when it came to the job market. But by watching Rory's example, I also felt like the show was trying to suggest a solution to the problem. Instead of chasing big dreams in big cities, find a place that actually needs you. Even though Rory started off traveling all over New York and London and all over the country, her editor job came from Stars Hollow. Now, I'm pretty positive that Rory wasn't raking in a huge salary from that, but hey, small towns often translate to smaller costs of living. And by taking the smaller scale job in her nowhere hometown, it gave Rory the opportunity to work on her passion project of writing about her relationship with her mother. That's something that likely wouldn't have happened if Rory were traveling all over the world desperately trying to stay relevant in journalism. And I think the concept of rebuilding your career on the small town scale has a really impactful thought process to it. And it's probably my favorite thing from A Year in the Life. Thanks for watching this video, and if you liked it, I hope you'll like, subscribe, and check out what other videos are on my channel. Please definitely subscribe though, so that way you'll be notified when I make new videos. And if you really want to help me out, please share this video with people that you think would enjoy watching it. Thanks again!